Okay, dear students, so now we are starting the penalties of value added tax. The penalties for value added tax. Penalties for value added tax. Listen, as you have studied this chapter, there are two things. There are two things in this chapter. Number one is you file VAT return quarterly. VAT is accounted for quarterly, okay? And each and every individual or each and every company has to file VAT return as well, return and the payment as well. There are two things, VAT return and VAT payment. Return means a document, okay? So now there are new penalties. The tax department has introduced new penalties for late VAT return submission and late payment, okay? Right, let's start. And this is the article. This is the article given by your examiner on accaglobal.com. So we'll be doing it with that article, okay? So that real thing you can understand. So penalties for late payment and late filing. Read, new penalties for the late payment of VAT and the late filing submission. Filing means VAT return of VAT returns have been introduced. The new penalties of VAT replace the default surcharge system. Previously there was a default surcharge system, so now there is no more default surcharge system and will only be examined in the context of quarterly VAT returns. So previously this penalty system was controlled by default surcharge system, but now there is no more default surcharge system. This new things have been introduced, okay? So see this box, default surcharges are no longer examiner, okay? So it's over now, now the next thing, the default surcharge system applied to both late payments of VAT liabilities and late filing submission of VAT return. There are now two separate set of penalties for each type of lateness, okay? Previously it was combined, now it's separated. Now VAT return filing is a separate thing. If you file your return late, then you will get separate penalties. And if you pay your VAT late, then the penalties are different. Okay, so it's separated now. And one more thing, late payment interest. This is one more thing, that they also charge late payment interest, which is 6.5% per annum, annum. It's a separate thing, I'll explain you, don't worry, and you will have a very good grip, right? Now late filing submission penalties. Under a points-based system, a business incurs a penalty point each time a quarterly VAT return is submitted late. Now first thing we are studying is late return filing. So now they have introduced points-based system. What is this? When, let us say, first thing, in your whole life you never submitted late VAT return, so first time in your life you are submitting late VAT return. So whenever you will submit first time late, no penalty, just one negative point on you. See, under a point based system, a business incurs a penalty point each time a quarterly VAT return is submitted late, okay? Whenever you submit return late, a one negative point is count, okay? If a penalty threshold of 4 points, see, if you continuously get 4 points, if you have 4 negative points, if you get 4 negative points, so £200 penalty is then charged, okay? With first point, no penalty. Second point, no penalty. Third point, no. But with fourth, if you have fourth point, you will get a £200 penalty. Now, once you get a penalty, now next time if you submit late VAT return, again you will have £200 penalty. Again you have. Now they will not wait 4 times. Now they will not wait for 4 points. Once you have hit 4 point threshold, now whenever you submit your return late, you will have to pay £200 penalty. You will have to pay £200 penalty, okay? Now penalty points normally expires after 2 years. Easy point, don't worry about it, I'll explain you. However, they do not expire once the penalty threshold means 4 points, has been reached. Now what's the explanation? Listen. For example, this is March 23. This is March 23. Can you see? Let us say for the quarter ended March 23, first time in your life, you submitted late VAT return. You submitted late VAT return first time in your life. So you got 1 point. You got 1 point, but no penalty. Now, June 23 was perfect. You didn't do anything wrong in June. But yes, again, in September 23, in September 23 quarter, you again submitted late VAT return. So you will get 1 more point, 1 more penalty point. Now, till now you have not touched the 4 point threshold. Till now you have not touched the 4 point threshold. So what will happen? If you want this point to expire, if you want this point to expire, then 2 years, you have to pass 2 years. After 2 years, that means on March 25, this point will be expired. This point will be expired. And what about this point? What about September 23 point? It will also take 2 years from this date. So September 23 plus 2 years, on September 25, this point will expire. Okay. But be careful with this point. Listen, be careful with this line, that these are the points without having any penalty. You haven't touched 4 points. Once you touch 4 points, then there is no expiry thing. Then there is no expiry thing for separate points. Now, after every, once you touch 4 points, after every quarter, if you submit late VAT return, immediate £200 penalty. Okay. Now one more case. See this line. Once the penalty threshold has been reached, a business has to submit VAT return on time over a period of 12 months. So 4 quarterly returns for their penalty points total to be reset to 0. Now, very nice point. As a student, you may ask this question. As a student, you may ask this question from me, that sir, for example, we touch the 4 points and we get £200 penalty. Now, can we came out of this thing, this whole thing? Yes. 12 months. You need to live 12 months silently. You need to spend 12 months innocently. You need to spend 12 months innocently without doing any crime. Okay. Let me give you practical example. Let me give you practical example. Listen. For example, in March 2023, first time you submitted your return late. So 1 point, one penalty point you got. In June 23, again you submitted late VAT return, so you got the second point. In September 23, again you submitted late VAT return, you get the third point. And in December 23, listen, you submitted return late, you get the fourth point. As you get the fourth point, you touch the threshold and you have to pay £200 penalty. Okay. Now you are in the penalty line. Now, if you want to get rid of all these things, you are fed up. So now next 12 months, you have to live a peaceful life. Next 12 months, you should live a peaceful, happy life with proper filing on time. So next 4 quarters, or you say 12 months, next 4 quarters, or you say 12 months. Okay. In that case, if you spend 12 months innocently, then you are out of this whole penalty system. And now your points are zero. Now in future, if you file return late, then again this whole setup will start from zero. First point, second point, third point, and on the fourth point you will get the penalty. Okay. This is how it works. And this is what I taught you. This is what I taught you, my dear students, for return filing penalties. Okay. Now the next thing is late payment penalties. Or if you want to read it, please read it. Please read these lines. Just a quick read up. Okay, you got it. Now we are starting late payment penalties. This is a separate thing. Now if you pay your VAT late, payment, then these are the penalties. Each late payment is considered separately. First line, no penalties charged if the VAT liability is paid within 15 days of the due date. If you pay within 15 days of the due date, you know the due date 1 month and 7 days. If you pay within 15 days of the due date, no penalty, no penalty. But a 2% fix penalties charged if the VAT liability is paid within 16 and 30 days. What does it mean? It means if you are 16 days late or 18 days late or 20 days late or 25 days late, then fix 2%. The penalties increase to 4% if the VAT liability is paid later than 30 days. Okay. If you pay more than 30 days late, like on 32 days, 40 days, 41 days, then there will be no 2% penalty. There will be 4% penalty now. And one more interesting thing. Now this is the additional penalty. This is additional penalty. This is called daily penalty. In addition, listen my students, in addition, where the VAT liability is more than 30 days late, a daily penalty, this is separate from the above, a daily penalty at an annual rate of 4%. Annual means per year, 4% per annum is charged beginning after the initial 30 days period. Now what does it mean? Listen, let me explain. The above penalties were separate. This is separate. This is called daily penalty. For example, you are 40 days late. You are 40 days late in your payment. That means how much later than 30? Till 30 days, there is no such penalty. But after 30 days on additional days, like if you are 40 days late, so additional days are 10 days. 10 days. Okay. For example, your amount was £10,000. Your actual VAT liability was £10,000. Now, how much penalty you have to pay? £10,000 multiplied by 4%. And this 4% is for per annum. Per annum means 365 days. And you have to calculate it for only 10 days. So into 10 upon 365. This is how you will do it. This is how you are going to do this daily penalty. But read the lines. Daily penalties only charged if you are more than 30 days late, and it will be applied on additional days. It will be applied on additional days. It will be applied on additional days. Right? Now, next thing. Regardless of whether the late payment penalties are incurred, late payment interest, this is a new topic. Late payment interest is charged from the due date until the date when the VAT liability is paid. It is always there. You know how there are two things. One is penalty, and one is interest. One is late payment interest. Listen, you know, tax department says that this late payment interest is our right. They openly say this is our right. Just think, if you take loan from bank, if you block the money of bank, if you take overdraft from bank, you have to pay interest on daily basis. So same is the case with the tax department. If you block the money, of tax department, then in that case you have to pay them. Interest. So it's their right. So interest is their right. Penalty is a separate thing. Why they charge penalty? Because you are doing wrong thing in the country. You are doing wrong thing in the country by paying VAT late. You are destroying the discipline of that country. So that's why they charge penalty. But interest is their right. It's their proper right. Okay. So interest is charged regardless of 10 days, 5 days, 6 days. Every time they charge, whenever you pay late, whenever you pay your VAT late, they always charge the late payment interest. Okay. And that is 6.5% per annum. And yes, this late payment interest is included in our course. It is written in our exam kit rates. it is in our corporation tax, it is in our individual tax. Everywhere you will find interest on late payment, which is 6.5% per annum. Okay. Now, my respected student, please check these rates. These are very, very important rates for you. See, one is normal penalty, one is daily penalty, and this is late payment interest. It is charged always. See, yes, yes, yes. If you are even 10 days, 5 days, 15 days, 20 days, always, always. Okay. Now, normal penalties up to 15 days, there is no penalty. Hope you remember. 16 to 30 days, it's 2% fix. And then more than 30 days, it's 4% fix. This is called normal penalty. Now daily penalty, there is no daily penalty on 0 to 15 days, 15 16 to 30 days. But yes, if you are more than 30 days late, then for additional days, this is for additional days. Okay, additional days, you have to pay 4%. This is per annum, 4% per annum penalty. Okay. Okay, now this is the first question which is given in your article. So, and it is already solved, but yes, you have to follow properly what I just taught you. Okay, so Pen was the guy, name of this girl is Pen. Pen was late in submitting her VAT returns and paying the related VAT liabilities as follows. So both of these things are there. Late VAT return as well as late VAT return, as well as late VAT payment. So these are two topics, separate topics now. With late VAT return, there's a point based system. Okay, now just assume this girl never submitted late VAT return in her whole life. This is the first time she is doing. Now, for the quarter ended 30th June 23, the amount of VAT due is 32,000 and she's 10 days late. She is 10 days late. Can you see? Okay. So 10 days means, now let's start. See, normal up to 10 days means 0 to 15 days. So no normal penalty, no daily penalty, but yes, there is an interest. Yes, there is an interest. Okay. So read it. No penalty. See, this is the solution. This is the solution. No penalty because the VAT liability was paid within 15 days of the due date. So no normal penalty. Penalty means here normal penalty. Okay, I call it normal penalty. And no daily penalty as well, because it's less than 30 days. Daily penalty applies after 30 days. But yes, late payment interest is always there. Late payment interest is always there, even if you just delay 5 days. So here it is 10 days. So 32,000 pounds is the amount of the VAT liability. Late payment interest rate is 6.5% per annum. Annum means 365 days, and you are 10 days late, so 10 upon 365. So this is going to be 57 pounds. Okay. And yes, my dear students, in terms of late VAT return filing, one penalty point is incurred for late submission. She got one penalty point. Okay, first time she submitted late VAT return, so she got first point. Now, once again on 30th September 23, now she's 50 days late. Very interesting. Now 50 days late. Okay. So first of all, with 50 days means more than 30 days. So yes, 4% normal penalty will be applied. 4% normal fixed penalty will be applied, and daily penalty will also be applied on additional days. So she is 50 days late. So 50 minus 30, how many additional days? 20 extra days. 20 extra days are there. Okay, so for 20 days we have to calculate daily penalty, and yes, interest is always calculated. So let's do it. Listen, the amount or late amount is, the actual VAT liability is 36,000. So a 4% penalty means I call it normal penalty. So 36,000 multiplied by 4%, which is 1440, is payable because the VAT liability was paid more than 30 days late. And now daily penalty will also apply. Daily, be very active. There is also a daily penalty for 20 days. For 20 days, because 50 days less 30 days, the amount is 36,000 multiplied by 4%. And yes, this 4% is per annum. This 4% is per annum, and per annum means 365 days, and we are only 20 days extra. So 20 upon 365 is 79 pounds. Okay, then I told you, even if you get penalty or not, you have to pay late payment interest every time. You need to pay late payment interest every time, right? A further penalty point, a further penalty point incurred, making two cumulative. Sorry, late payment interest is 36,000 pounds into 6.5%, which is per annum, and the total days are 50 days. 50 days total late, so 50 upon 365 will give you 320.5. Okay, and now my dear student, this is the second time she submitted. This is the second time she submitted late VAT return. So one more penalty point will be added for VAT return. See, a further penalty point incurred, making two. Now we have two cumulatively. So now we have the third one, and that is 31st December 23. The next quarter is 31st December 23. Amount due is 41,000, and now it's 18 days late. 18 days means this category. 18 days means this category. Wait. Okay. So now you check it. This is between 16 to 30 days. So yes, a fixed 2% normal penalty will be applied, but there will be no additional daily penalty will be applied. But yes, interest is always charged. Okay, let's do it. So now the amount is 41,000. So please be active. A 2% penalty on 41,000 times 2%, 820 is the penalty will be charged, because you are between 16 and 30 days, right? And there is no daily penalty. It's not written, but you can assume there is no daily penalty because it's not more than 30 days. Yes, there is a late payment interest, which is always there, always there. Late payment interest is always there, right? So, and it is for actual number of days. So 41,000, and the late payment interest rate is 6.5% per annum. Per annum means 365 days, and as you are 18 days late, so 18 upon 365. So answer is 131. Answer is 131 pounds. Now finally, this is the third time you file your tax return late, so you will get a further penalty point, making three cumulatively. Now you have finally touched 3 points, penalty points. Okay, so now the last one is yes, it's 31st March 2024, and the amount VAT liability is 29, and you are just 8 days late. You are just 8 days late. 8 days late. Okay, so the next one is 29,000 pounds VAT liability in 8 days late. 8 days means less than 15 days, so no more normal penalty, no more normal penalty. And then you have, there is no daily penalty. See the first column, see the first, there is no daily penalty. Okay, but yes, interest is always charged, interest is always charged. Okay, so you need to check it out. See this, no penalty because the VAT liability was paid within 15 days of the due date. No daily penalty as well. Now late payment interest is always there, so 29,000 pounds. The annual interest rate for late payment is 6.5% into 8 days late, so 8 upon 365, so it's 41 pounds. Okay, right? Now now this is very important. Now this is the fourth time you submitted your VAT return late, so fourth point you got, and this is the threshold. A further penalty point incurred since the penalty threshold of 4 points has been reached. A £200 penalty is charged. Now you have to pay. Now you have to pay the penalty. Now you need to pay the penalty for this. Now you need to pay the penalty for the return. Okay. So now as per article, you have done the work, but I have made my own questions as well for the practice purpose. Okay, so few lines are left. Late payment and late submission penalties will not be charged if a business has reasonable excuse for the late payment or late submission. Yes, the tax department are consisted of human beings, they understand us. For example, an unexpected stay in the hospital should count as a reasonable excuse for either late payment or late submission. Yes, that's a reasonable excuse, but however, having insufficient funds will not normally be accepted. No, because you are responsible for your funds. You are responsible for your funds. So this is not a legitimate argument. This is not a legitimate argument. Okay, right? Now, this is my question. I have made this question. So I would request you, this is same as before, same, exactly same as before. I would request you to pause the screen and write your solution for all these 4 quarters. All these 4 quarters. Okay, right? Okay, so the first thing is, that means it is written when Harry will have zero penalty, zero. That means in past, Harry did not commit any crime or any late things. Okay, so it's starting from zero. So now, first time in the quarter ended 30th June 2023, she paid VAT late. How many days? 5 days. 5 days means 0 to 15. 0 to 15 means no normal penalty. No normal penalty will be applied. No additional penalty, because additional daily penalties are only incurred when you are 30 days late. So no additional penalty will be applied. Okay, now, but interest is always charged. Late payment interest is always there. So 40,000 was the amount. Late payment interest rate is it's 6.5%. multiply by how many days? 5 upon 365. Okay, you can better calculate it yourself. It's not a big issue. Okay, now this is the first time in this question, this is the first time you submitted late VAT return. So one penalty point for the late submission. Okay, one penalty point you got. So I have done it for 30th June X3. I have done it for 30th June to 23. Okay, now the next quarter is 30th September 23. Now this time the liability is 26,000 and you are 16 days late. 16 days means, check it out, 16 days means this case 16 to 30. Yes, you will have a 2% fixed penalty. Yes, but no daily penalty will be applied, and yes, interest is always there. Late payment interest is always there. So normal penalty will now be 26,000. 26,000 multiply by 2%, which is 520. Okay. Now, daily penalty. Daily penalty, there is no daily penalty because daily penalty is only applied if you are more than 30 days late. But yes, late payment interest is always there. So you use 26,000 of government, the late payment rate is 6.5% into 16 days upon 365 days. You can better calculate it yourself. Please calculate it yourself and write. Okay. Now, next point is 30th September 23, again you submitted in this quarter, again you submitted your VAT return late. So that means second point, second penalty point is it makes two cumulatively. Okay, but you know, penalty on return filing is only applied when you are penalty on return filing is only applied when you are 4 times late, when you get 4 points. Now next thing is, now 32,000, yes, with 32 days. Excellent. 32 days means more than 30 days. See, yes, 4% will be applied. Yes, this daily penalty will be applied for on excess days, over 30 days. So over 30 there are two excess days. So this is the rate. And yes, interest on late payment interest is always there. They never forgive this. Okay. So the amount this time is 32,000. Yes, let's do it. So 32,000 multiplied by 4%. This is fixed, which is 1280. Okay. Then daily penalty will be applied. Daily penalty will be applied on 32,000 multiplied by, yes, daily penalty interest rate is 4% per annum. This is per annum now. Into 2 divided by 365. Into 2 divided by 365, it makes around 7.01. Okay. Now late payment interest is always there for actual number of days. So basically you use 32,000 of the government, then 6.5% is the rate into 32 upon 365 days. This makes around 182 pounds. 182 pounds. Okay. Now as this is the third quarter, so now you are third time late, in filing your tax return on time, VAT return on time. So you will get a third penalty point this time and makes 3 cumulatively. 3. Now let's move for the last one. 31st March 2024. Now it's 55,000 and 55 days. 50, excellent, 55 days late. So 55 days means, see this, more than 30 days. So yes, you will have to bear this 4% normal penalty. Then yes, you have to bear additional penalty. How additional penalty? Listen, uh, it's on always excess days over 30 days. So 55 minus 30, it will be applied on 25 days with this rate, okay, right? And then you always have late payment interest. So 55,000 multiplied by 4%. This is I think 2200. Okay. Then daily penalty will be 55,000 multiplied by 4%. It's per annum. And what are the excess days? 55 minus 30 is 25 divided by 365. This makes around 150 pounds. Yes. Then late payment interest is 55,000 into 6.5% into actual number of days is 55 divided by 365. That makes around 302. Sorry, let me do it. It's going to be 538 point how much, 69 or 7. Okay, 538.7, 538.7. Okay, now so now this is the fourth quarter, 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 and now this is the fourth quarter in which you submitted your VAT return late, you submitted your VAT return late. So now you got the fourth penalty point, and once you got the fourth penalty point, you hit the threshold and you have to pay 200 pounds, 200 pounds for return penalty now. Okay, I hope you did it correct. Now please check the solution. Now I have made one more question for you. You can practice it yourself. It's same as before, it's same as like you have to start from zero. In your past life you didn't do any crime, so whole same as last two questions. I have already taught you two questions, so you guys can try this question yourself, and if you have any issue you can ask our QD support department. You have, you know that. Okay, so this, and I would request you to solve the VAT kit with the class. Now you should start the VAT kit, CGT kit. With once you complete CGT you should do the CGT kit, once you complete IHT you should do the IHT kit. So do it with the class. Okay, thank you and take care.